My name is Okafor Jonathan. We are here to look at the topic that says growing from a disciplined youth to a successful adult, focusing on the physical, social, and the spiritual aspect of life. In the first place, I have to thank the organizer of this gathering because I know it is an effort making. It's not common. It's rare. As His Excellency pointed out, if all the communities in the state are doing things of this nature, I believe that the rate of unknown gunmen will be drastically reduced. So I thank those that initiated it. And I would like to start by telling us, the youth, that if actually you are having dreams for tomorrow, those dreams start now. You can't talk of tomorrow without considering now. And that is why the organizers of this particular summit aimed at us. His Excellency said, what actually we need to remember for? If God permits that we live long, what actually we remember for? That is an assignment you have for yourself. So when we are talking of the youth, it's always a matter, especially in this generation, when things are falling apart. In short, when the professor wrote that book, he was a youth during his primary. But those things he wrote then are what happening now. So considering the moral decadence in the society that is always increasing, not minding the efforts the government are putting in, you begin to ask yourself, how do the society look like in the nearest future? In 10 years to come, do we ever think to have a peaceful society if we continue the way we go or the way we are going? Traditionally, you will discover that even what we consider to be moral is no more there. Respect is gone, honesty is gone, truthfulness. All these things are old fashion of life. So we see them as things that concern the old people. So in our own day, these are not fashionable at all. We are talking of the youth. And in such a situation, how do we think to get things done rightly? It's a matter. Village lives, they are all gone. A situation whereby somebody will be truthful, sincere. This is no money. When you see someone like that, that person is a Jew guy. No matter what you hear. So when you might hear, when you name things the other way round. So these are issues. So if we continue that way as youths, our forefathers, our parents, their own pattern of life centered on morality. And they were able to give them to all of us. And they're going. We are to take the center stage after them. And our own pattern of life is just the opposite of what they did. Now begin to imagine what the future will look like. These are the issues. So when we are considering growing from a disciplined youth, we are talking of youth. Youths. When life is at prime, we are full of energy, when we don't even believe that death can knock on our doors, when everything is decided by what you can do, when your blood is fully pumping, we're talking of youth. When you look at yourself on the mirror, everything is just appealing. And we forget that all those things can still one day grow old and look like the old mama in the village. Growing from that particular point, when you consider all this, the question is, do you know that after being a youth, you will still grow old? And at the time of your own age, what actually? And if you look here, you will see what I just outlined. I talk of moral values, I talk of respect, I talk of manner, I talk of honesty, and all whatnot. All these things, they are no more there. If you check your life, you will discover that these things, they are old way of life. Modernization and get rich quick syndrome has taken the center stage. This is where we are now. When you talk of materialism and other vices, they are our focus now. And we believe that that is what youth is all about. Everybody wants to make it. Making it at all costs. That is it. For us. Everybody wants to get material things. Believing that that is what will adjure you successful or not. If you don't make it, you don't belong. This is the state we are. Now when you consider all this, one becomes worried. It is because of these factors outlined here. That is why everyone is on the run. Everyone is on the run. The society is in trouble. There is fire on the mountain. Why? Our mentality. What we have of head. The goals we are pursuing. Terrible. So our youth have disastered the normal and natural ways of life, and they are championing a different course for themselves. As they challenge different way of life. So some of these things our forefathers abhorred are now norms. So India would na abo alo nakaya na abo gini yoma nakaya na abo as way of life. Nakaya na abo as ye. So in our own time now, there is nothing like abomination. There is nothing like evil. There is nothing like crime. So that we people are calling crime. So far you will gain from it. You can do it. And if you get out of it, no problem. Because of life. So Neni ne pundi na boso mbi agocha. Ana pundi asindi na machalosi. Mbisi na dero ma. But the issue is this. No matter how you struggle in life, no matter how you struggle, there is one factor that if not taking into consideration, every effort will be useless. And what is it? Discipline. Discipline. Without it, every effort you are making, you can't succeed. So from there, we look at discipline. Go on. You consider discipline as it regards the youth. Why are we talking of it? It is taken from the Latin word "displus," which means to learn. The question is learning what? What actually do you learn? The negative or the positive? Well, our emphasis here is that you learn the positives. Because at your age, at your stage as youth, the tendency to learn anything that appeals to you without considering the effect of it is always 90%. So it is the same route from which the word disciple is taken. So when you are talking about discipline, it has the same foundation with the word disciple, to copy from someone, to learn somebody in order to reciprocate or to display that person. So who actually is your model? That is the question. Who do you want to model your life after? Ever before I heard of Tony Mass, one priest in my village is so much emphasizing that man that he's a legacy. Ever before he died, he's a legacy, he's a legacy. And I went to the priest and said, who is this man? He said, don't you see filling stations? I said, I used to see filling stations around Tony Mass. He said, that is a human being. I said, from where? He said, from this community. And the priest started telling me about that man. He started narrating about the man. And I was surprised to learn that even that priest, the same Tony Mass was the one that trained him without allowing the priest to know that he was the one training him till he became a priest. So when we are talking of learning, who actually do you want to learn his own pattern of life? Who is your model? Whoever that shapes your life will determine to a greater extent the kind of future you will have, whether you like it or not. Now, literally, when we are talking on this plane, it's just a mode of life in accordance with certain rules and regulations. It's a sort of self-control reflected in public action. This control is not forced upon the individual. Yes, let me emphasize that. In most families, their parents will force you to do this, to do that, to do this, to do, and they are doing it because they are forcing you to do that. That is not discipline. If you are doing anything as a result of force, pressure, not that you are doing it out of sense of this is what I ought to do. I want to do this for good. The tendency is that when you leave that particular environment and go where you are free, what will happen? You will leave all those things you are forced to do. That's why when many of you come to the campus where your parents are not, what do you normally do? You feel free. My mother is not here, my dad is not here, so I can do all those things they ask me not to do in the house. That's what you witness in the campus. Lecturers, they can bear witness. You see people behaving like mad dogs. So when we are talking of discipline, we are talking of that particular action you have learned to do, and you are doing it voluntarily because it will uphold the goodness of mankind. Hence, discipline is spontaneous and not a mere submission to authority in an obedient manner. It's something that will become part and parcel of your life. Good. Now, discipline and youthful age. Youthful age is last stage or era in which life itself is full of vigor. Now, our lives are full of vigor. Our lives now are full of energy and the possible rebellion. Yes, it's part of it. Our bishop in our guidance is saying, if you see a youth that is not behaving so radical, please take him or her to the hospital because it is not part of their life. They're supposed to be behaving like someone that is mentally sick. That is part of it, but it has to be controlled. So here, you crawl, you learn to stand, you walk, and you run. You go to school, get a job, and then start a family. That is the ambition, all is geared towards achievement, to make it. That is it. The issue is that all this energy, all this vigor, all these dreams, if you are not properly controlled, what will happen? You will miss the mark before you reach the target. So these things are accompanied by various behaviors and may be different for every individual. Youth at an early stage are naturally exposed to many things which could be positive or negative on them. The impact of youthful age reflects on physical, social, and even spiritual aspect of life. That is why we bring some attributes of youth. As you can see, the negative impact of it. You can see what we have here now. It has negative. You can see copying super. You see somebody, the tendency to copy. Even when that thing the person is doing, you don't know the implication. But it's part of. You tend to copy it. Increase excess of crime. These are the effect of those energies when not controlled. If you look at it, you will discover actually that the negative impact of social media on youths and teenagers, the social media, a lot of things are exposed, you can see, you can communicate. All these things, they have so many negative impact because through it, you can see some that are not even good for you. But because some people are showcasing it, you copy. You begin to adapt to it. And it will begin to affect your life the same way it affects the life of those who are doing it. As a youth, if these things are not moderated, you will not strike a balance. There is need for you to strike a balance. If you are approaching spiritual aspect of life, remember that all things are not spiritual. So there must be a balance. You strike a balance. That is the essence of discipline. So that you will not be allowed to go extreme on the other side of life. If you do, it will become dangerous. So friends, all our emphasis is to make sure that you are not out of the track before you get it. So there is some warnings from God, from the word of God. The word of God says a lot of things about discipline. Number one says, do all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the visible fruit of righteousness to those that have been trained by it. That is Hebrews 12, verse 11. At the end of the day, if not getting it, also so growing, she's just a woman. Likewise, the young men also get it every year. And I'm praying God to help me to at least do the same line. You are the one that will decide who you want to be and how you want your future to look like. As you make your bed, so you lie on it. Thank you, and may God bless you. God bless all of us.